the texture portrait images. So you're going to go into your drive, your digital photo folder, your light painting portraits folder, and you should have a folder in there with your texture portrait images that you saved from the share drive. And you'll have at least 5 images. And what we're going to do is we're going to select the raw image by holding down the control key. It's the image on the left, and we're going to select all 5 of those images. Okay, and we're going to open them up, and we're going to go to the image that is the medium, about the medium exposure. So this one's pretty bright, so that's the brightest. That one is pretty much a medium exposure as well. So is this one. So let's start with this image here, since it's pretty much a medium exposure, and we're going to highlight all of the images by holding down the control key and selecting them all. And we're going to be adjusting the exposure on this one up just a little bit, and we will probably go back in and adjust it down as well. But for now, we are going to adjust it up, and you will see that all the images adjust up when you do that. We're going to add a little bit of contrast, a little bit of highlights, some shadows. We'll bring it down a little bit. Maybe bring our whites down a little bit, bring our black down. We're going to come over here to effects. Now, you know how you adjust your image is slightly different for every image, but we do want to bring the texture up, the clarity up. I'm bringing the texture up to about 40 or so. Bring the clarity up maybe to about 30, between 30 and 40. Bring the dehaze up a little bit. Kind of, yep. And then I'm going to come down here to detail. And I'm going to go to about 40. And color about 40 as well. And it adjusts all these images as you do this, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and figure out which image we want to edit by just clicking on them. This one I definitely don't think is a good one. This one has potential. This one definitely not, because it's too bright here and there's no way to bring that down. This one's not as interesting. So I would say it's between this one and this one. And I may end up just editing both of them just to see which one I like best to turn in. So let's go ahead and open both these by holding down the control key and by opening both of them. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in and raw process. I'm going to do this image first, the 215. I'm just going to go ahead and go back in and open that image again. Okay. And this time I'm going to bring the exposure down a little bit, just so it's a little bit darker on the face and a little bit darker in here. And I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and select all. Control C to copy. Okay, so Control C. And then I'm going to paste it over here. Control V or edit paste. Okay, Control V. And so I've got the brighter one on top. And I'm going to add a layer mask. and I'm going to make sure that it's black over white with a nice soft brush, black over white. And I'm going to come over here and make sure I have zero hardness and a nice soft brush. And I'm going to make this a little brighter along the edge of my tool. And I'm going to make sure that this in here stays darker. I don't like how bright this is. Make sure that stays darker. And I'm going to make sure that this is a little bit brighter along the edge. Okay. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these images together, and I'm going to duplicate them by right-clicking on my mouse. And I'm going to merge those layers by right-clicking. And I'm going to call that retouch. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer by using my navigator and just kind of zooming in. And I'm going to see what I want to retouch. Some of this I'm going to be using a vignette to get rid of. Okay. I like the lines in the green. I like the texture on his face. And I'm definitely going to want to retouch this chair here. I don't like this. And the different parts of the chair that are too bright. I might do that with the vignette. Okay. I might get rid of this bright line here by bringing some of this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my cloning tool, my clone stamp tool, and I'm going to make sure that I have my hardness set to 0 and a nice soft brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my brush a little bigger so it's about the size of this. Okay. And I'm going to hold down my Alt key and I'm going to select this and with the bullseye and I'm going to bring it down just a little bit to here, making sure I'm following that line. I'm going to take this here and bring it down. Make sure I'm following the line. I'm going to take some of this and bring it up. And if we turn the retouch off, we can see that looks a lot better, doesn't it? It just looks not quite as bright. And so I'm going to take some of this here, bullseye, and I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Again, my brush opacity is set to about 68. So I'm not doing this at 100%. Make sure you have your brush opacity set at about 68 or 50, around there. I'm just following this up. Okay, so if I turn this off, we can see that looks so much better than before. So really, you're going to be very careful when you're doing this, and you have to be very slow. Okay, I'm going to back out. We turn that off, on. We can see that it looks so much better. If I zoom in, we can turn that on and off, and we can see that looks so much better. I also can use my burning tool as well under here with a little hand. There's a little burning tool here. And what I might do is duplicate that layer and call it burn. Okay. And then I can go in with midtones. I'm going to go with highlights because this is a highlight here. And I'm just going to burn it down just a little bit, but not a lot. We don't want it to look gray, okay? If it starts to look gray, then we need to back off a little bit. So if I go back on my history, I can kind of back off a little bit because I didn't really want it to be so gray. So let's see here. I'm going to go back on my history and just kind of back that off again. So burn, back it off a little bit, back it off a little bit, back it off. Okay. And okay, so there we go. If I back out, it looks pretty good. And if I just show that, you can see how, if I zoom in, you can see how, if I turn this off and I turn this off, you can see how it looks so much better than before, okay? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add a vignette, solid color, black, okay? And I'm going to click on my vignette, make sure I've got black over white. I'm going to make sure I've got a nice soft brush and zero hardness, nice soft brush. And I'm going to use my bracket key to make my brush a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the vignette from my light painting. And let there be a little bit of dark around the edges. And bring this down. And I don't really want to show the chair at all at the bottom. Bring this all the way out so I can see the full light painting on here. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, Control plus, move my navigator around a little bit. Okay, so I want to click on my brush again, but I'm going to put white over black. I'm going to make my brush smaller, so I'm going to go in with a smaller brush, and I'm going to get rid of this and this here. Get rid of the chair. Get rid of this highlight on the chair. And I want my pants to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to kind of put this around the edges of the pants so they're not so noticeable. And now I'm going to go ahead and back out so that the chair is not quite as noticeable as before, okay? And you can see when I turn the vignette how much better that looks. I could make the pants even a little darker here. And bring my opacity down even more to about 24% so that I can kind of gradually blend this out into the pants. There we go. And there we go. We're going to save our image. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to call this Texture Portrait underscore your first initial, your last name. You're going to save it. And then once it's saved, you're going to go back into your drive and you're going to, not your drive, but you're going to go back into your Canvas. You're going to click on the folder that is for your class and you're going to save it into the shared drive. Okay. Now, again, we have that second image that you can also edit to see if you like this image better to possibly turn in. If you do more than one image, you can earn some extra points as well. So um, you may want to do that if you have two images that you like equally. Okay, and that is that.